One Piece, Chapter 1, Romance Dawn. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome again to the nation, Jim's Nerd Nation. I, of course, am Jim, or a clever trick to try to impersonate a very ugly person. But at any rate, all kidding aside, I am here today to bring you a review and first impressions on the series One Piece. This is going to be Chapter 1 from Volume 1. So at any rate, let's just dive right in, shall we? I don't know how I'm going to break up these reviews if I'm going to do... I was going to do originally one volume per video, but to be honest with you, it covers a lot. You're talking 200, plus pages. And ultimately, I can be a little long-winded because I like to give a summary, a background, some discussion about what I think. And what I decided to do, at least for right now, is I'm going to read a chapter and then I'm going to record a short-ish review on it. So I guess we'll see where things take us. A lot of it will be dictated, too, by what we wind up seeing in the comments down below. If I see a lot of comments like, hey, I'd like you to do maybe 4 in a review or something like that, then so be it. But either way, I know that I'm extremely far behind. I understand that this series started back in 1997. I did read up and have quite a many thoughts on Oda, the creator, and all positive things. So first and foremost, what I noticed, because I am very new to manga in general, is that I started out and I'm a few volumes into Attack on Titan, which is a much more realistic, gritty art style. What I can tell you about this art style is it's much more polished. I really enjoy the way that the panels flow. There's much more dialogue on each panel. I could burn through a volume of Titan in about an hour because there's just not a whole lot of dialogue. The translation just leaves a little bit to be desired. Whereas with One Piece, it probably took me half hour, 45 minutes to get through the very first chapter. And then I wanted to, of course, record this with my first impressions. So the story takes place, and we come upon our main character, Monkey D. Luffy. And I probably would have pronounced it Luffy, except for I have heard and seen some things in the community and looked it up, and it is Luffy. So he is our main character, and he ultimately aspires to be a great pirate. The first panel actually takes place, and it shows the beheading of, I guess, the world's most famous pirate, Gold Roger. And he, alludes to the fact that, hey, if you want my treasure, you're welcome to it, but you'll have to find it buried somewhere in this world. So I'm imagining that that's going to be one of the main carrots that's dangled in front of us, and one of the things that keeps Luffy going on his quest, because that's ultimately what it is. It's his quest to become a pirate. Now the story starts out, and he's a child, probably between 10 and 12 years of age, I guess. Again, because of the art style, it is a little bit difficult to tell, but everybody keeps calling him kid. We cut to a scene in a bar where you wind up meeting for the first time what I understand is going to be a long-standing character in the series, and that's Captain Red Haired Shanks. And Shanks just kind of writes him off as sort of a bumbling idiot because he can't swim, and he just, he's a kid, but he just sort of is one of those kids that hangs on, and he just, nags the crap out of everybody, and just, I want to be a pirate, take me with you, blah, blah, blah. Shanks and his crew have been using this port, for a couple of years now to go out on their pirating expeditions of pillaging and plundering or whatever the case may be, and then coming back and they resupply and sleep up and mainly drink in the tavern, I guess. So anyway, we wind up finding out very early on that Luffy actually, by accident, just because he was hungry, ate one of the treasures that they had brought back called the Gum Gum fruit. The Gum Gum fruit, now he couldn't swim before he ate the Gum Gum fruit, but the Gum Gum fruit is something that, it's a mystical fruit that permanently changes your body and makes you able to be like a rubber band man, similar to Mr. Fantastic, if anybody ever read comic books from the Fantastic Four. So, because of that being rubber-like, I'm sure that has its advantages, but ultimately he'd never be able to swim, which kind of, at that point, really kills his dreams of becoming a pirate, because what good is a pirate if you can't swim? I personally can't swim. I can dog paddle and flail for my life, those are pretty much my two forms of swimming. And of course, once I've ingested enough water and drown, I would probably eventually float to the surface and could be used as a raft. So that would be a third mode. But at any rate, how could you be a pirate without being able to swim is kind of everybody's point. So, but about halfway through the chapter, and the first time that we do see this taking place in the bar, Luffy really wanting to be a pirate and Shanks kind of writing him off as an annoyance. In through the door bursts this mountain bandit, who apparently is Higuma the bear, and has a price on his head of 8,000 berries. I'm also assuming, don't know yet, but I'm pretty sharp. I think I can figure out that berries are the currency of this world. And at any rate, he's kind of a big blowhard that comes in and demands barrels of liquor, and starts a fight with Shanks. After Shanks goes, and after the bartender tells him, hey, you know what, we have none left. And Shanks goes and has one bottle of grog left, and he hands it to him and says, here, take it, And this guy winds up, he's just an ass clown. He breaks it. He's one of those guys, everybody knows him. He's that bully. He's that kid that just tries to bother you just to bother you. Maybe he got beat up as a child. Maybe his mommy doesn't love him. Maybe he's from the Jackson family. Who knows? But the bottom line is that he's just a real dick with eyes. So he winds up kind of slapping Shanks around a little bit, and Luffy is absolutely appalled because he believes that to have honor, you have to fight back and stand up for yourself. Shanks is a little bit older, and he's more in the camp that I'm in, whereas, believe me when I tell you this, you'll understand for all you younger viewers out there, it's much harder to walk away from a situation than it is to throw a punch, to say an angry word, or to start some kind of fight, verbal or otherwise. It took me a long time to learn that because my father was a person who, kind of swung first and thought later, and it didn't really serve him very well. But he had a different type of upbringing than I did too, so I understand where his mentality came from. But anyway, that's getting off the beaten path. Like I said, I do ramble about things, but that's just my personal opinion. So Luffy's pretty upset with Shanks, and Shanks, again, has just kind of trying to teach him the lesson of, hey, listen, you don't have to, always fight. Sometimes the harder thing is to walk away from a situation. You don't need to kill everybody who gets in your way. So anyway, we wind up fast-forwarding maybe a couple months, couple weeks later. Shanks has gone out with his crew on a pirate mission, and Luffy is sitting around the tavern, kind of sulking, and, he's asked by the owner if... do you miss them? And he says, no, I don't, because, I can't believe Shanks would have let somebody, push him around like that. That's not a real man. Anyway, at that time, this mountain man, the mountain bandit, Higuma the bear, he comes back in and, winds up apparently starting to talk some shit, because the next panel that we cut to is him and all of his crew trying to kick the shit out of Luffy in the street, and they're not really able to do much damage because he has eaten the gum fruit, so his body is obviously elastic-like, and when you kick him and punch him, it just stretches. It doesn't actually hurt him. So this confrontation winds up coming down. The mayor actually comes out, begs for Luffy's life, and the mountain man says, oh, no, it's a matter of, honor, and he offended me and said things to him, and Luffy keeps insisting, no, you started it. So... right as he's about to kill him, to kill Luffy, for dishonoring him, I guess honor amongst thieves, Shanks appears with his crew, and a really kind of badass fight ensues. Shanks shows his strength, and not even directly through himself, but through the strength of unity and through his men. His first mate seems to be pretty badass, and they pretty much embarrass, and wipe the floor with the bandits. So... throws down a smoke bomb. The mountain bandit does, Higuma, throws down a smoke bomb and disappears with Luffy. We wind up going and cutting then to the next panel of Luffy being on a boat with this bandit, and the bandit basically saying, you know what, screw you, I'm going to kill you, throws him over the side. Now we all know Luffy can't swim, so him and water don't mix. Not very good. In the instant that this happens, it's kind of neat because we also cut back and we see kind of a flashback as to why Luffy got into the fight to begin with. Remember, he kept insisting that he did not start it. Well, he didn't. This Higuma came in and basically egged him on and tried to talk as much shit as he could about the pirates and Shanks in general from the last time he had been there, and Luffy pretty much just stood up for his friend's honor. So that was ultimately something that I think gained the respect of Shanks, because Shanks does wind up coming to save him. There's a alligator, crocodile, sea beast looking thing that winds up attacking him. It actually looks kind of like the Tic Tac Croc to me from Peter Pan, the old cartoon, Disney cartoon. But at any rate, they get back onto the sea, and the chapter is just about to wrap up. And Luffy says, "Oh my God!" And he looks, "You lost your arm," and there's Shanks, sure enough, with his arm just hanging there off. And he says, "No, it's a small price to pay. Saving a friend." Blah blah blah. So I don't know what the story is with that. But I know that losing an arm would be a big deal to most of us because we only have two. So especially if it was we won't get into that, but losing a limb would not be good. So the story in the chapter winds up wrapping up with Shanks more or less saying, "I believe that Luffy's going to do great things." Still tells him though that he's too small to be a pirate. And then we fast forward at the end of the chapter 10 years in the future, and Shanks of course has been gone now. He's left out, and they're not using this port anymore as their home port or a base of operations. And Luffy is now going to set out on his journey, and he sets out on his journey in this rowboat or dinghy, or I guess whatever you want to call it, this small boat, and he's attacked by that same beast, that Tic Tac Croc that got Shanks' arm 10 years ago. But anyway, he winds up learning the pistol punch, which he told Shanks he could punch like a pistol, and he winds up, it's kind of a neat scene, he winds up stretching his arm out and jacking up the croc over there. So anyway, the chapter ends, and it looks like it's going to be the start of an amazing journey. The reason that I wanted to do these first impressions immediately after I read them is because so many people have been sending me messages saying you should read this, you should watch this. And that's all good and well, and I will get to it in time. But with a lot of this, I really want to be able to do a review and give a first impressions review of what my thoughts are while they're fresh in my mind. I have 3 kids and a whole lot going on in my life, and many times if I don't put something, commit something to paper or recording like this immediately afterwards, I forget some of the important details. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. I hope everybody enjoys my review, my rendition, my thoughts, my summary of One Piece Volume 1, Chapter 1. And I think it's going to be a great journey. I'm certainly going to try to crank out as many of these a day as I can because I'm excited to read, and if I didn't have to do these in between, it would actually be better because I'm really excited to just kind of read ahead, and I've got the first 12 volumes, and I'm already looking into ordering the next 12. So thanks a lot again for watching, and this is Jim saying so long from Jim's Nerd Nation. Hey, if you liked the video, please hit the comment, like, or subscribe if you haven't done it already. And on the left and right, we have a couple of my Attack on Titan reviews. So, see you all in the next one.